Happy Sunday! Welcome to a very special edition of Savvy Hikes, where we're going camping. This is our weekly family camp trip. We're changing it up a little bit this year. For the last 20-some years, we've always gone camping at a Pennsylvania state park called Promised Land State Park up in the Poconos. But we've been doing it for 20-some years, and Morgan has finally cracked and said, I want to go someplace different. So we're going someplace different this time. We are going to go to the Raymond B. Winters State Park, which is out in Center County. So this seems to be becoming my new locale of choice, is Central PA. We're about an hour from State College. We're gonna do a couple of day trips. We're gonna explore the new campground. I am gonna do a long hike, but I'm gonna save that for a separate video, and we're gonna set up camp, and so we'll see what this whole experience looks like. Well, they're all hiding in the car, so I've got all three kids with me today, and we've got every piece of camping gear known to mankind shoved into the back of a rented minivan because I can't fit enough stuff for 3 grown-ass adults in a SUV. So we're gonna get some gas in this beast. We've got our snacks, and we are gonna hit the road for about 3 hours to our new campground. See you there. Alright, so we are hard at work setting up camp. We got here in plenty of time. Our tag was already on the campsite, so we're able to get started and get stuff unloaded. The nice thing about this campground, you can see Crow has the wheelbarrow. This is a walk-in campsite, which we wanted to kind of be out of the main flow of traffic. But they very generously have wheelbarrows for us to bring our stuff up to the campsite, or there's another campsite just up the trail there for walk-ins. There's also a bear box there, so if we didn't want to have to leave our evening snack food all the way down in the car, we could just leave it in the bear box over here, which would be handy. So the car's not that far. It's just down at the bottom of that hill right there. So, but it's a beautiful setup. We have a lovely tent pad right here for our castle of a tent. Wait till you see this. This thing is huge. And we've got our cots here, plenty of trees to hang our tarps from for the day, or to put over our picnic table, nice open space for our campfire. And then one of the trails that I want to hike actually starts right over there and goes up into the woods right behind our campsite. So it's going to be real easy for me to do my 4-mile loop that I want to do this week. So the kids are busy hauling everything, and I think they're going to mutiny if I don't start helping. So I'm going to turn this off and start unloading stuff. kids are over being very excited about the bear box. And there we go. We've managed to set up camp. Nobody yelled at each other. We got everything done just the way we needed it to at this point. So we're very happy. The fly is very high, but that is a lesson we picked up from my brother, who did this for us once when we were camping when the kids were a little younger. And it actually works pretty well, especially since even if it sags, it's not pushing us in the head, which I'm so short that flying these is really a challenge for me, which is why I've moved to some of the self-standing tarps. But Morgan did an amazing job of throwing the lines. That's why I gave up on throwing bear bags, but he loves doing it, and he did a great job. So we shouldn't have any problem if it starts raining. We're not expecting any rain. We might get some tonight, and we might get some on Wednesday, and that's all we're really expecting this week. So we've got the tent all set up. Like I said, it's a palace. This is the old Eureka Copper Canyon. I believe it's rated as a 12-person tent, but we've always had cots, so we're lucky to get 4. We have fit 5 cots in here, but there wasn't really any room for anybody to move around, and the kids were a lot smaller then. So now we're just going to kind of settle in. We'll start refining everything. Oh, one other thing I wanted to show you guys is our camping kitchen. So we have the table all set up with our sleeping child, and we've been using this sunflower tablecloth for so many years. I can't even begin to remember when we got it. My mother remembers us using it for a long time, probably 10 years easy. But you can't find good felt line tablecloths anymore that are interesting. So we've still got that one. We've got this old Bear Creek camping kitchen. This is the top on it, which works as a sink. So we put all our dirty dishes in it while we're camping during the day, and then we're really lucky. The bathroom here has hot water sinks outside that we can use to wash dishes in, so we don't have to boil water and worry about getting rid of the dirty water. So that's really nice. And then the kitchen itself, the stove goes on top, and then this opens up and has all kinds of storage. I've got a silverware drawer here. I keep the drink mixes and spices and such in here. We've got all of our cups, bowls here. Bags, trash bags, plastic wrap, spatulas and spoons here. Serving utensils are here. This has, all our silverware goes in here. This has all of our other kitchen utensils in there. And down here we have our cutting board, the dish soap, and all of our plates. And everything just packs real neatly right into this box. I organize it before we go out, and then we don't have to worry about it. Everything's right here. And we bring a dishpan, which will be really nice for taking down to the sink. They're really big sinks and they don't have plugs, so we use the dishpan, and that helps with that. So now everybody's just getting settled. We'll get our cots all set up the way we want them to. I've got to hang my hammock, and then we may take naps. We may go for a walk. I don't know what we've got to go get firewood yet, but that's our setup. Every year we do a special sacrifice in our first campfire of the year, or of the night, which is to make a sacrifice of a marshmallow to the fire in honor of our Uncle Ben, because he would always torch his marshmallows when we were kids. So, Ben, there's your marshmallow.
I never forgot about you. Right there. It's on fire.
So it was a pretty quiet night. Still not sleeping well. I never sleep well my first night in a new place, which makes overnight backpacking hard. But I am learning that my back issues definitely aren't the fault of my bed. It's definitely an issue with my back. So, not sure what's on the plan today. We may just hang out in the campsite today. We may do our ice cream run into State College today. We may go to the beach today. I don't know. It's a little chilly right now. Beautiful morning, though. Just very peaceful out here. Oh, I hear a crow. Yeah, speaking of crow, crow's in trouble with all of us because they're the only ones who forgot to turn their alarm off this morning, and they have a 6 o'clock alarm for some friggin' reason. So I'm up early. The others all went back to sleep. So I'm gonna go get my tea and hang out for a bit. Alright, so the decision has been made. We have come to the wilderness to go into town. I promised the kids that we would go into State College to the Penn State Creamery, which supposedly has some of the best ice cream anywhere. And they've decided to do that today. We are looking at getting some severe heavy rains and some thunderstorms overnight. So I don't know what this week is going to look like, but I know what we're doing on Wednesday. And other than that, I don't know what we're doing. But right now, we're going to State College. So we probably picked a really bad weekend for this. It's move-in weekend, and all the parking lots are closed, and the streets are full of students, and actually we're here early, and so it's not too bad yet, but can't imagine in a couple of hours anybody's going to be moving through these streets very fast. So we're going to get in, get out, find something a little saner to do. Although the Arboretum is right across the street here, and I'm really curious to go through it and see what they've got. But these guys can't find their way out of a paper bag, so I've got to pay attention to them. Thank you very much.
Go crazy.
Hello.
Careful because there are ants everywhere.
All right, so our first visit to, well, not Morgan's. Morgan's been here before. He's got a friend who went to school here. All right, Xander, what'd you get?
F-by chocolate.
Ooh, what's in it?
Lots of chocolate. If the name wasn't dead.
Chocolate flakes.
Bunch of buds in it.
Oh.
Bunch of pieces.
Oh, I'm gonna want a peek bite of that.
Nope. Mine.
Crow.
So I got the August pie. There is peach, nectarines, basically the same thing, and raspberries. And it's fucking huge.
Morgan?
Chocolate chip cookie dough. I'm the boring one.
No, I'm the boring one because I got vanilla chip.
They're just melting out.
Not the variety I'm hoping for, but I don't care. It's ice cream and it looks really good. All right, so it rained last night. It started out not too bad, but after about 2:30 it got real heavy, and that's when we started to have problems. The Gabe fly is way too high, so the table got not pools of water, but everything's damp. And one spot on the fly over the top of the tent started pooling water and got pushed down enough that it touched the screen and started letting water through to drip all down into, well, fortunately onto Xander's clothes tote box. This is why when we pack for camping, we put everything in those flipper top tote boxes so that when we have weather like this, everything still stays dry. So we're not too bad a shape, but it's looking like there might be some blue sky. So I'm not sure what we're going to do today. We're going to hang out a little bit. We had some excitement last night. Crow went out for a quick walk and very, very quickly, just past the campsite, ran into a couple of bears, which scared them, scared the bears, scared us. So we spent quite a bit of time making sure our campsite and our neighbors' campsites were all bear-proofed. So we're slowly waking up. Xander's up. The other two are still sleeping. Once they get up, we'll worry about breakfast and see what we're going to do for the day. So we decided that since we didn't know what the weather was going to be like, we'd do some kind of a road trip today. So our road trip is going to the Grand Canyon of Pennsylvania. And after getting turned around a little bit, the GPS decided to take us to the bottom instead of to the top. We are now here at Heiner View. So come take a look. In case you weren't able to read the sign, this is a memorial to the fire wardens that have served the state forests here in Pennsylvania. And the really cool thing about it is each of these rocks, these one by one blocks, comes from the state forest area to represent that state forest. So this crazy, wild, really beautiful pink one is from number 2, State Forest number 2, and I can't remember which one that is. I think that might be one of the South Central ones, Michaud maybe, is too. I'll have to look it up. But I just love how very similar so many of these rocks are, and then you have one like that one that just really stands out as being so different. I think this is such a great memorial. I love this very much. There's also, over here, there's a statue in honor of the Civilian Conservation Corps, our favorite heroes, who've basically, without whom we wouldn't have a park system here in Pennsylvania. I think it's funny because we've seen this exact same statue in a number of different places. They have it at Promised Land, and it's also down on the Blue Ridge Parkway. I think they just kind of batch cast a bunch of them to put in the various places. But it's really important. The work that they did was really important. And we're very grateful for everything they did. To this day, I think that's the best program that this country has ever had as far as supporting its citizens, providing resources for us to take advantage of. It's just wonderful. Good morning, everybody. I apologize for the graininess of this. As you can probably hear, we have the remnants of Hurricane Fred coming through camp today. So we are pretty hunkered down for the day. We got the sunscreen up. You probably saw that in the video from when Xander and I went camping at Penn Roosevelt. But we figured we needed someplace besides the tent and the picnic table to hang out. It's supposed to do this all day and into the night. But of course, since it's hurricane, it's going to come in bands. We had a break for a little bit, so I got to run to the restroom and check out camp to make sure everything is pretty watertight. And it's not doing too bad. We've got one spot, I'm not sure if I mentioned it yesterday, one spot on the fly has started sagging, so it's collecting water, which has brought it down enough to touch the netting on the top of the tent proper, and that contact is letting water leak down into the tent. So we're going to have to do something about that. Not today. There's nothing we can do about it today. So for right now, the kids are still in bed, not asleep, but just lingering. My back's bothering me, so I'm out here in a chair under the sunscreen, and we are still going to try and hit the road at 10 o'clock because there is a guided hike into an abandoned railroad tunnel that's been turned into a bat sanctuary, which we really want to do. We have no idea if it's still going to go on with this weather, but we figure we might as well go for the drive, see what's going on. It's better than sitting in a wet campsite. And otherwise, we're going to sit in a wet campsite. I've got books, we've got a million board games, the kids all have art supplies, so there's plenty of stuff for us to do even if we don't do anything. So, but we'll keep you posted on what's going on. Well, I won't say the weather is in our favor, but we have made it out to the site of the Centered Outdoors hike today. And we're about to get started, so we'll see how long the weather holds off for us and see if we can get this hike in. So despite the weather, that was a really interesting hike. We learned, I'm always excited about the intersection of human-made and nature-made. So this train line was established back in the 1800s. And, more talking. So we're back in the tent, and as you can hear, it is still raining outrageously. Driving back was an adventure because the rain was so heavy at times that I couldn't even see the road. We ended up stopping for dinner, and we took our sweet time because it looked like there was one more heavy band coming through. I think the worst of it is over, but it's still coming down pretty hard. The water in the tent is manageable except for this problem child. I don't know how well you can see it. Let me zoom in a bit. We have a place where the water is collecting on the fly and bringing it down to contact the mesh on the top of the tent and letting the water leak in. So we have some damp spots here. We've got towels down catching water, and we've put a dish pan down to try and catch the worst of it. We have a couple of other pools here and there, but not terrible. So we're settling in for the night. The wind was blowing so hard that even with the fly adjusted well, everything on the table is just soaking wet. We'd put most everything of value away. Unfortunately, there was a roll of paper towels that were still left out, so those are useless now. But otherwise, we're gonna hunker down. We may play some board games here in the tent, do some reading. It is 7 o'clock, so a couple hours till bedtime, but we'll make the most of it. It's supposed to lighten up tomorrow, chance of a couple of thunderstorms, but nothing like what we've seen today. So tomorrow will probably be a drying out and recovery day, but we'll see how it goes. Good morning. So Fred finally moved on about 12:30, 1 o'clock last night. But it was pretty loud last hour or so. Everything's soaked. The picnic table is just pools of water. Oh, we're gonna have to do some damage control on the tent. But so today, this looks like it's just going to be a wet day, which is fine. Oh, we aren't planning to do much, but I mean, at least I can be out without an umbrella or without the raincoat this morning. We are going to go out for breakfast because there's just no way we can get everything dry in time to be comfortable. And we'll get everything, start working on stuff after that. We don't have big plans for today. Crow really wants to do some geocaching here in the campground, so we'll probably do that. We may or may not go for a little drive. And we're going to decide if we want to stay another night. It's looking a lot more likely now that it's stopped raining. Last night I was ready to just shove everything dripping wet into the van and get the heck out of Dodge. We'll worry about it when we get home. But today, now that I'm not getting so wet, I'm a little more optimistic we'll stay the rest of the trip. But for now, I'm going to do my morning ablutions and slowly get everybody moving. the weather had improved dramatically, so we decided it was finally time to go out geocaching. And as soon as we pulled into the parking lot where we were going to start doing the geocaching, it started bucketing. But it seems to have let up, and we're going to cross our fingers that that's it and done. We can actually see blue sky up there. I don't know if you can see it. See? Blue sky. So
Don't believe it, it's a lie.
I know it's lying to us. It's just setting us up for more disappointment. But so we are going geocaching, and we will see what treasures we find. So we saw in the ranger station that there was a big storm here in 2016 that took down a lot of these trees. I haven't been able to ask anybody yet if that was a tornado or a microburst or what that was. But we can see here all the damage that was done. And Crow and I are trying to figure out if these are bear scratchings. I mean, that looks like claws. That doesn't look like rubbing or bugs.
Jelly baby? But there could also be witch's butter. I'm not sure.
That's a lot of rings.
So I'm not sure if you were able to read that sign, but this section of the park is an old growth forest that's fortunately been protected from lumbering. So a number of the trees out here are going to be over 100 years old. I'm not sure if I explained old growth forest, but basically that's wood that did not get clear cut It may have been harvested as woodlot, or like a lot of these trees would get cut down for ships' masts and such like that. But that was done on a tree by tree basis, and it wasn't until lumbering for the iron industry came through that they started clear cutting. So some of these trees have been here for a very long time, and they show it. It's really beautiful. I love hiking through moss-covered woods, but the problem with them is they're mossy because the area is humid. So I'm very sweaty right now. But that was a good little walk. Unfortunately, Crow wasn't able to find any of their geocaches. They're going for one last shot, but as we go back to the car. But that was a very pretty walk. The video camera doesn't do it justice. You can't see how dark and mysterious a lot of that woods was, especially with the humidity giving it a slightly foggy look, and apparently fogging up my camera lens. I couldn't clean it enough to keep it clear. So we're headed back to the car now, and dinner and fire. The one other thing that hike helped me figure out is the new speed goats are not working out, unfortunately. Even just doing that 1 mile, when my feet felt fine, because I haven't hiked in a couple of weeks, my my Achilles tendons are aching. So the drop on those is just too much. I can't adjust to it easily. So it's back to my Moabs unless I can find something else higher and not so heavy. I know the Hoka has come out with another mid-height, so I may check the rise on that and see how that works out for me. But this is why I buy these things at REI, because at least I can take it back, even though I've hiked in them a couple of times. So I'm disappointed, but it is what it is, and we fix it before it breaks us. All right, last morning. It was a much better night last night because it didn't rain. Xander and I both woke up this morning to the sound of this enormous hoot owl out in the woods. He was way off in the distance, and then a few minutes later he was right next to the campsite. But there wasn't a lot of going back to sleep after that, so we're up. Changed plans this morning. Because of the issues my hiking boots gave my feet, and Xander's infected toe is acting up again, we are not going to hike today. It's just... Sorry, getting water. It's just too much of a risk, especially for him. I mean, I could tough it out, but I don't want him getting a worse infection. So... for anybody who's worried, it's getting treated. The problem was he forgot to bring his sandals this weekend. So his toe was all boxed up in sweaty, wet, rain-soaked shoes and wool socks, and never really got a chance to breathe. So it just kind of flared up again. So... oh well, there are plenty of opportunities to come back here. It's not so far of a drive that we couldn't come and make the drive to even just for a day to hike around and do whatever. But it was a mixed week. We enjoyed the campground. We enjoyed the campsite. We did not really enjoy the weather. So we're going to have a small breakfast, get stuff packed up, and... maybe this time hit a diner in time to actually get breakfast, unlike yesterday when we got there 15 minutes too late for breakfast. But you gotta have pancakes when you're camping, right? And there it ends. Every wet thing we own back in the van.
And a wasp.
And a wasp. And so ends our camping trip. Well, end-ish. We've got to get home, and we're going to have to set all this stuff up again to dry out. But it was an adventure, all right. I did get the guide for the Mid-State Trail because we've spent so much time on or next to the Midstate Trail this week that I've gotten more curious about it. I think I actually already have the book, but this has a bunch of the maps too, so that'll be good to have. And I can give the book to Deb. She's collecting these the same way I am. But in the meantime, I've got a car full of kids and stuff. We're aiming to hit the Wawas for lunch and then home. And then Xander has to get ready for another camping trip with his dad. And everybody else just wants to hang out with their friends online. So we're heading
before the wasp comes back.
Oh, and we're dealing with a wasp that really wants to come home with us. So we're going to sign off here, and we'll see you when we go out for our next adventure. Take care, everybody.